This demonstration will walk you through how to manage service providers using Janus. You go to the Connections tab in the overall in the dashboard, and you get a list of all service providers connected to the system, as well as all identity providers or IDPs. For now, we will just focus on the service providers. There are two main functions here on the page. You can either enter a new connection ID and select which type, for instance, a service provider you would like to create. You may also filter out, depending on the state of the connections, to shorten the list and make a better overview of what's presented on the page here. Looking at the service providers list here, we can pick any one here and click on it, and this will bring us to a new view of what we can manage here. So there's a connection name and a revision number. Now please note that this is a test system, not the operational one, so there is only revision 1 for most of the services here. There's a connection ID, a metadata URL if available. There's an attribute release policy which can be assigned to this service provider. There are more to choose from. If you want to reuse another one from another service provider, you can choose it here. There's a revision node, a parent revision, no parent revision in this case, and there's a state indicator. In this case it says test because it's in the test environment, not in the quality assurance or in the production environment. And there's a type, connection type, which might be changed. Finally, there's a revision node field where you may type in whatever you do while using this tab here. In the identity providers overview, you may mark up identity providers which will not be allowed to transfer information or attributes to this service provider. Or you may allow all. Again, a revision node writing what you did, which might be handy while trying to roll back, for instance. The metadata overview for the service provider contains, of course, the assertion consumer service location, sync logout endpoint, Danish name, English name, Danish description, and English descriptions, which in this case are the purpose descriptions which are presented when getting the user's consent. We may also either delete entries or add new fields to the metadata. That could be an icon, for instance, with a logo file, for instance, or new or other types of information that we want to put into the metadata for this particular resource. As you see, there's a gray field, a help field, which describes what the field is all about. This will hopefully help people understand and use it more easily. There's an import metadata tab where you may import from a URL directly. That's typically Simple Sample PHP installations and others that actually can do this, or you may import directly in the raw XML format. Again, you may type in a revision note if you like. There's a revision history where you can actually roll back to previous states if you want to. You can click and then you are getting redirected, or will get the new view, which is the rollback to that state. Or you may, and finally, you may export metadata, which will not work in this case because there's a field missing. So you can see that there's actually field and format checks imposed on the metadata here. That was all for handling the service provider in the connections tab, service providers under the connection tab.